know. I am standing here in the Fort Pierce sale barn with Herman Schumacher. Herman, we have just heard from Bill Bullard a fantastic presentation on why America is losing its ranches and an update on this new lawsuit. Herman, you were one of the original founders of RCALF USA.
Yep, sure was, yep.
And I just want to say thank you.
Yep, well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Talk about why were you involved with RCALF? How did RCALF come about?
Well, I tell you what, you have to go back to about 1994 is when we seen a market that just collapsed about like it has the last two weeks or last 2 months, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I met Johnny Smith. Late Johnny Smith was part owner of this, and they had a big gathering in Omaha with disgruntled cattle people, so I drove down there with a friend of mine, and I knew Johnny Smith, of course, from the sale barn, but I never had gotten to know him personally. We ended up at the same table, and we started talking, and by God, this is wrong, and of course the checkoff came into play. He, Johnny used to do a heck of a job on the radio, and he there was no gray area. Whatever Johnny had in his mind, he'd say it. There was no political correctness there, which I've always appreciated about that man. And but anyhow, so with the South Dakota Livestock Marketing the Sale Barn Association, there was at that time 37 sale barns in South Dakota, and somehow I got to be president of it, and this was back in 94, 95, and from there we started getting really active at our conventions, and we took on the big boys, the LMA, not the LMA people, but the LMA people, and a few others, that were really pro the checkoff, and that's kind of how it started. And then the packer manipulation, I owned a custom feed yard and also a livestock market at the time. And, I just loved selling cattle, and being in that custom feed yard, I got to sell them when they were finished, and always had 3, 4, 5 buyers come by every week. And at the sale barn, of course, you'd have 25, 30 buyers coming to your auction. But this started shrinking away, like I said, in the middle 90s, it really got critical. And so I got appointed to a commission in Washington, D.C. It had more to do, it was on the concentration in all of agriculture. It even included the railroads, the grain companies, and I was there as representing the cattle industry. And I got to even be vice chair. I don't know had any meaning to it, but anyhow, that's how it kind of started, and some letters were written, and Johnny, of course, was a letter writer, and Mike Calicrate, I don't know, you've met Mike, and
yep.
Leo McDonald, and so it just come about that way, and I had to bring witnesses back. This went on for 3 weeks. I had to be there every week, funded by myself. At that time there was no organization that had any kind of money that would have taken care of it, and I didn't mind doing that. But anyhow, so that's kind of how it started, and then we filed a petition on the what was it again? On
the BSE.
No, that was on
the Tyson.
That was actually had to do with importing a cattle. Dumping.
That's right, the anti-dumping case.
Anti-dumping case.
Yes.
That was the very first thing that we really got involved with. We weren't an organization yet, but we can't. At that time, we just went out and got myself, or I should say Leo, Kathleen, and myself. We got people to help support it, and by golly, we got it to the committee, and you never would think that it would be political, but it was political as well. And we won in the preliminary, but we went home. And NCBA, of course, they got an office there. They stayed. We won the preliminary, but when it came to the final vote, we got beat. So we had gotten so many people involved at that time already. So Leo and I just decided, and Kathleen, why don't we just try to make it a national organization? That's kind of how it started.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
And then from there we went to, of course, the Canadian deal. I mean, with BSC Cow. I mean, our membership just ballooned, you know, because we were successful, and we have been successful in this organization, and it hasn't quit. And it's I was involved in the Pickett case, and then in the case in Aberdeen on the price reporting, and the support I had from, and I see a lot of the folks that are here tonight that were sitting in my backyard back up in Harriet, South Dakota, when Tyson put a sign on my door. They wanted to get their funds back, so what they did, you probably never heard about that. Oh yeah, they put a sign on my door. Yeah, we had a big press conference right in front of my house in Harriet, South Dakota. Johnny Smith was there, Mike Callicrate was there, and we embarrassed not just Tyson but Guard. They all three got together, and they wanted their whatchamacallits back. So they put a judgment against my house. Yes, and
Wow.
you know what? After a while, we got a lot of media at that time, and we kind of embarrassed them where they pulled it. I haven't looked lately, but I don't think there's anything there anymore. But they did put a judgment on my house and put a sign on the door, condemned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about retaliation, huh?
Yeah, retaliation, yeah.
So you mentioned NCBA before a little bit ago. You know, there was an association already. Why didn't you guys just rally with the NCBA? Why did you form a new association?
We tried, honestly. I mean, I went to, back in the early to mid 90s, I think I was a member. I think you were automatically a member. I went to 3-4 conventions in a row, but it all fell on deaf ears. You know, I mean, the intimidation that was there by, the packing industry, they had their reps there, and I always call them the Oxford Cowboys. They wore cowboy hats and had Oxfords on. They were all they were either with one of the three big packers or whatever. And
right.
That's who their crowd really was. As far as even back then already, I didn't see that much producer involvement. And when it was over, we were in Kansas City, we were in Denver one year. When it was over, you'd drive home and say, what did we accomplish? Nothing, And so from there, we did try, and then after that, we came up with the I don't know if you know about the livestock market auctions got together, and we put a petition out there, and we gave them both sides to vote on whether they are for the checkoff or against, and we put it in all the auction markets. And when we were done, I forget, and I think that might be here yet, that might be in Johnny's archives, but or Dennis's now. I might find it too, but it must be in the stack. But we had like 6,500 people that voted to get out, and we had like 200 and some. And that was all the sale barns combined in South Dakota.
And that was in the mid-90s?
In the mid-90s, yeah. I'm going to say it was about 95, 96. Yeah.
So, who then are RCALF members? When you've seen RCALF evolve over the last 20 years,
Yep.
and there are going to be people watching this, and I want them to know the spirit of who an RCALF member is. Why is RCALF different?
I think RCALF is different because we're not out there. We aren't funded but just by the producer, so we got to speak for the producer. I mean, RCALF knows, and the membership knows, that we are there to try to help the industry. We're not there to whitewash anything. We're there to tell them what the real problems are, and most of them, or all of them, know what the real problems are, that we're going to try to change it. And I think that's probably why RCALF is still where it's at today.